Go in the first half, I think they led for the first 14 minutes, and then Marco hits the corner three and he's fouled. Just from a turning point standpoint, how big of a shot was that as far as the?
Yeah, I don't know the exact sequence, but yeah, they were obviously better than us to start the game, and then we were a lot better the last 6 minutes, was it, and go on a 20-2 run, which was that was a difference in game. It's an even game other than that. But yeah, that was a big shot by Marco, but we made a lot of good basketball plays in the last 6 minutes of the first half. We started guarding them, and although our defense wasn't bad the whole game. I mean, numbers wise, it was pretty good, but certainly we got to improve and play better. But they do such a good job of disrupting you and not letting you run plays and get set up and things like that. And so you got to rely on how you play and players to make plays rather than run plays. And we didn't execute as well as what I would have liked for the majority of the game.
You did a lot of taking the ball up the floor against their defense with the pressure. Just how useful is it to have someone like that who isn't a primary ball handler but can function that way when you?
Yeah, I thought KJ, other than rebounding, he just hadn't rebounded the ball lately. But I thought he's been our best player the last 3 games or whatnot. And certainly I could say the same thing today. He made the one real bad pass in transition when he overthrew Juan when we had control and all that stuff. But I think his ball handling in transition has been about as good as anybody's. I mean, he's done a good job, and for a 4-man to get 5 assists, even though he had 5 turnovers, that's pretty good.
Bill, particularly in that first half, they really sagged off him, whether he had the ball or he didn't have the ball.
Yeah, they sagged off of he and Marco.
Yeah,
I mean, they had 2 people in the lane the whole time.
That stretch at the end of the first half, whatever the last 6 minutes, he had a couple of those floaters, but then he also had some screen assists. How smart did you feel like he played during that stretch, and your team kind of take advantage of that?
I thought they you couldn't even ball screen with him and have it be a pocket pass because his man played under. But to that point, a couple of times we ran offense, and by the time he was the screener, it was different than their initial setup. And Juan made a floater there. That was all because of KJ. And then KJ made, what did he make, about 3 12-footers in a row, something like that. I don't know exactly. We got to learn how to attack that better. But I actually thought he did some good things. He's getting better every game.
Coach, Dennis came in here and he talked about your experience kind of here at Kansas, and he said that he still has a little bit of growing to do, but obviously this year's result is very different than when y'all went to Columbia last year. And so I'm just curious, was there anything you saw about Coach Gates that he's grown over the past year?
Coaches can't comment really on other coaches unless they're there and they can watch. But
Okay.
From the outside looking in, oh yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Last year when we played them at their place, they tried to take us out by pressing. This year, they pressured and didn't press, which was a big difference because last year when you have shooters, you make the extra pass and you throw it to Grady or Jay Will or whoever, and we end up shooting the ball. I don't know, we shot it unbelievably well last year over there. This year, our team is different. So the pressure was probably more effective than pressing because it didn't allow us to get 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s and things like that. So I think that was a very good adjustment. He's a terrific coach. The play he ran out of the timeout to get the back door for Sean, that was a great play. I mean, they've done a great job in a short amount of time, and they're fast, and we can't simulate that in practice, and it certainly bothered us. Their hands bothered us.
Missouri was targeting Nick and Johnny a lot when they came in off the bench on defense. Just what do those guys need to do to improve on defense and not, I guess, be a weak spot in that regard?
Well, that's a good observation because they just ran a ball screen to force a switch and play take 'em. which we gotta get better at. We tried to keep Juan connected, after that. Juan actually did a good job on Sean. It was other guys that probably didn't do as good a job on him, but, yeah, we gotta get better in that area. I thought, the second half, I thought Johnny did better, even though he got 3 quick fouls. I thought he did better in that area, than what he did early, but we don't trust our feet. We're nervous about getting beat, so we back off and give space, and, then they can just play off their jab and get their own shot whenever they want to. So we gotta get better at that. It's not any different than what people did to Grady last year or Jay Will the year before. We will get better at it, but that's something that people will do until we do get better.
Coach, I know every win's gotta probably feel good, but is there anything special about getting a win over Missouri?
Beating Missouri always feels the food and it tastes better and the drink is colder later on in the evening after you beat Missouri. But that wasn't one of our best deals. I thought Missouri did a great job of making the game the way it needed to be to give them the best chance to win. I thought they did a great job. I thought our guys actually handled some things very well, but the game had no flow. It had no rhythm, which we're kind of if we're playing well, we kind of play with some rhythm offensively. So I'm leaving out of here really happy that we won, but I'm also leaving out here thinking we got to play better, and I'm sure Dennis is thinking the same thing. He's probably thinking, we came over there, we were the better team early, and then we kind of had a rough stretch, and then we hung in there and didn't let the crowd run us out or anything like that. I mean, crowd was great, but they weren't a factor in the game because I don't think our play was good enough to allow them to be a factor in the game like they were against Connecticut.
You guys were 20 out of 23 from the free throw line tonight, and 6 for 6 on those 1-1s at the end. Just how important were those to see go through? And
well, they were important because we've got 17 fouls, so the next 3 are going to be, or we got 16 fouls, so the next 3 are going to be 1-and-1s, and we go 6 for 6 when they were in the double bonus quite a bit earlier. So yeah, we shot our free throws well. We with the exception of just a couple of times, a couple of games, and maybe a player or two getting off to a rough start, we shot our free throws better, knock on wood. So, and we certainly made big ones, and tonight we made some big ones.
Anything else? Gary.
In the big picture, you guys are 3-0 in the renewed series against Missouri. How do you feel about that, and what does that mean to you?
I think to the question earlier, I don't even care about 3-0. I don't care about what happened last year or the year before. I care about what's going to happen from this point forward with our team, and I'm not going to think about Missouri again unless we have an opportunity to play them in the postseason until next year. But I am happy that we won. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that we won, but that's not something that I'm going to hang my hat on, leaving out of here thinking we're 3-0. You know what? We're 9-1. We play at Indiana. We got to get better for Indiana. That's how I see it.
Bill, not the first team that's given Hunter all sorts of attention, but obviously not the last that's going to give him that sort of attention. What's just the benefit of playing in a game like this, and particularly since it was KJ that they were kind of daring to step up?
KJ and Omarco. We ran some plays early, and Omarco's wide open, and his man's in the lane. And it was the same thing with KJ. And as long as teams play that way, Hunter's going to be neutralized in a lot of. I mean, there's nothing that we can do that will help him out unless you can spread it. Last year, we scored a ton of points at the rim against Missouri, but you had Grady and Jay Will and Kevin all stretching the defense out there, so they had to guard out there. This year, they didn't have to do that near as much, and so. We got to have some guys step up. I've said that all along. Players 5 through 9 have to be more consistent and better. And there were times that we were today in order to allow our best players to have productive games. It's not so much looking at maybe just how they guard Hunter or how Hunter doesn't do something or the appearance that he doesn't do something. Maybe it's because other guys can't spread the floor to allow even more help that gives the appearance that it's even more crowded. And that's the way it was early in the game. And fortunately, Marco and Nick made a couple of shots, and in the second half they didn't play quite that way near as much, and then Hunter was able to get some touches in the second half.
Coach, I know after Eastern Illinois, you talked about the need to rebound better. How good were Kevin, Hunter on the glass tonight?
Well, yeah, we rebounded the ball well. You know, one thing about, in my opinion, you know, Missouri, they do such a great job with help defense and guys flying around and whatever, but what it does do sometimes is create rotation rebounding. So, you know, we thought that's something we have to take advantage of, is getting guys to run to the glass. And I'm not sure we did a great job of running to the glass, but we certainly rebounded better than we had. Yeah, that was a big factor in the game, second chance points.
All right, thanks, Coach.